feel about that. There's actually a lot of times, again, that's why we started this company, is so many companies don't do things the right way. You'll run into a house that has solar and they're like, actually, I'm not happy. It doesn't do what I need to. I just bought 2 Teslas and a hot tub. We've got this crazy bill left over. Can I get more panels? Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you can run with like different companies with.
Yeah, like when their existing system is a lease, it can get a little more complicated, but as long as we keep the new system totally separate from the old system.
My rules is they got to pay off the lease.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
the best. That's the best course of action.
Yeah.
They got to pay off the lease. If we can add that onto their loan, great. They only get the tax credit for the portion that the new system is.
The new stuff. So
Okay, that makes sense.
no, that's helpful.
We can technically do takeover systems by increasing the cost, but they only get the tax credit for that portion, and then they can pay it all off and have it under the one loan.
That makes sense.
Yep.
I'm back.
Nice. He's at his computer. Well, since we're firing away on Q&A, any other questions from the group? Or Chris was going to start on some new stuff around sales process. We've had our little tech corner here, Chris.
Nice. Just so you know real quick, because I was going to text it to you, but since you're on, Jacob from Colossus said, boom, good to go. Give them like 72 hours.
Cool.
Nice.
That's good.
So manager sidebar.
That's helpful. Good. Well, thanks everybody. I'm going to be lurking. I got to call some candidates here, but thank you, Chris. I will let you take it away.
Appreciate your help. Sorry for being late, guys. I was out selling the system, but they actually had a similar question. Can we add onto my system later? Absolutely. So they actually purposely undersized their system. They wanted to go a little bit smaller. We did an 80% offset because they plan on making some energy efficient upgrades. And so it took me a little bit longer with them than it planned on. But it's like, hey, so if we want to add, definitely we can add more equipment onto the system down the road. It's going to take me a minute to get my PowerPoint open. As soon as it opens, we're going to get training. I know Brian already went through all the recap stuff with you. There we go. We're opening up. So we already went through all the recap stuff with you. So that's fantastic. So we're just going to go ahead and get to it. I do want to show you guys the new logos because they are approved and ready to go. You guys excited to see that?
Yes, sir.
Heck yeah.
Yes, sir.
So the new logo with one of the new animations. Pretty proud of it. I made this one myself. So I like it. I'm excited about it.
That's cool.
Yeah, it looks good. I like it as well.
So we got a bunch of really cool little logos and stuff like that. But welcome back to the Solar Panel Pro certification. Anybody's brain still boiled from last night?
Not too shabby.
Not too shabby. Great. So Jeffrey will be joining us a little bit late today. Jasleen will be hopping on at the end. They're going to be doing the catch up on the and then Michael had a death in the family, so he's gonna be doing the catch up as well. So, let's all wish him the best when we see him. He said he should be back tomorrow. So we're missing a couple folks, but not really. They're gonna play catch up. You guys do have that availability to do that and just watch the YouTube video that I send out. So all I ask is that I know ahead of time. That's it. So just give me a call, shoot me a text, and let me know that we're having that issue and you are going to be late, so that we don't run into so that I know to make sure it's uploaded right away. Because if you're all here, I can take my time and go have dinner with the family. If you guys are going to be late, I'm going to make sure it all gets uploaded and I'm going to bring my computer with me. Make sense? Cool. And I don't mind doing that, so it's not a bad thing. All right. So appreciate you guys. Super excited to go through today's training. We're going to be going over some advertising methods today, handling some objections, selling on purpose, how to set up funnels, and then we're going to get to the advanced solar stuff and how to sell solar tomorrow. Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
The stuff we learned today, is any of it going to be on the test, or was that mainly yesterday's?
It's all going to be boiled into the test, all 3 days.
Okay, cool.
Because day 5, well, yeah, so technically 3 days. is day one's just an orientation. You're not testing on day one stuff. Day 2, day 3, day 4 is all that information. It will be piled in. Today is more kind of giving you a break from solar definitions and stuff. And it's more processes of how to do the job, how to set appointments, how to build your brand type thing, with a little bit of how to sell solar. And then tomorrow we go deep into how to sell solar. Okay. And then Friday, I actually do the one-on-one with you guys where somebody's going to pretend to be my customer, and we'll just pick at random. So if you have specific questions as like what a customer would ask, you guys beat me up like a customer and I will do the role play and show you guys what a proposal looks like. Okay. Because I'm one of those, I just don't miss. Every time I go into the house, I get to paper. So the only reason why they don't buy from me is because they failed credit, right? I'm going to teach you guys how to do that. Will you be able to do that right off the bat? The answer is absolutely not, because you're new. Don't be afraid to suck at something new at number one. And the only difference between me and you is time. You guys will be able to break my record. I guarantee it. Step 1. Have no audio. I can hear you guys though. That's all that matters. Okay. So advertising. So what is, any other questions before we jump on? No. Advertising has 3 primary objectives: to inform, to persuade, and to remind. Informative advertising creates awareness of brands, products, services, and ideas. It announces new products and programs that can educate people on how the attributes and benefits of new or established products. Okay. So every time that we advertise, no matter what we're doing, whether we're doing cold calling, we're doing canvassing, we're just branding ourselves with friends and family, or we're doing funnels, whatever the advertising is, every company is just trying to get your attention. If you spend any sort of time on social media, you've seen an ad. Okay. So most of this generation is like, what's a commercial? It's exactly what you see when you're scrolling through Instagram and Facebook, but now it's just on the feed instead of on your TV, right? So it's no different. It's just more involved now. So there's a lot of different forms of advertising, right? So if we look at these 3 objectives that we're talking about here, we have some of these older style methods that are kind of burning out nowadays. So print media. Do people really use print media anymore?
Yeah.
Nah, not really, right? You might see something come in your mail like mailers. Those are still kind of popular, but you don't really see too much of it. That's why it's up here, right? I clicked the button. Radio. Does anybody really listen to the radio in their car anymore?
No.
Some people don't want to admit it. I still listen to the radio from time to time to see if there's anything new that I like, because I get tired of what I'm listening to. But I typically listen to like the same 10 songs over and over and over again. But we all have Bluetooth nowadays. We have XM. We have all these things that can get rid of those commercials, right? So radio advertising has kind of died. Television, again, commercials, right? We pretty much all use streaming services, and we kind of fast forward through most of the commercials anyways. Billboards. This is still a huge form of advertising because you have to leave your house. So we see billboards, and those are still pretty expensive. They could be up to $50,000, sometimes up to $150,000, depending on how heavy traffic the area is and how long of a term. It's typically 3 to 6 months. So imagine spending $50,000 to have your face on a billboard for 3 months, right? As an independent contractor, you are more than welcome to do that. We do that as well. Okay. Internet. Who has the internet? Oh, snap. All of us. We're all on it right now, right? This is where you see most of your advertising nowadays. If you scroll through Instagram, Facebook, even Snapchat, YouTube, there's always an ad of some kind, right? We all lose our minds when you can't skip the ad. So the goal of these is to make sure they're engaging and they're fun. So I'll show you guys how we do that and how you guys can do that, and even free methods for you guys to be able to advertise so that you can start building your brand online right away. Then, of course, word of mouth. Okay. This is the #1 form of advertising. It's always been the #1 form of advertising. Think about last time your friend, think about movies. Okay. Have you guys ever gone to a movie wanted to go watch a movie and your friend tells you, dude, don't even waste your time. Do you even bother? No, you wait till it's free, right? And you're like, yeah, they were right. Or you just never watch that movie. I have dozens of movies I've never watched because I still haven't watched the new Batman because my friends told me don't waste my time. I still haven't watched them. Like I've been told 100 times by all of my friends, you need to go watch Spider-Man. I've been wanting to go watch it, but I do these, so I don't have time yet. So I'm waiting for it to come out on Disney Plus so I can watch it with the kids. I would love to go out to the movie to watch that one. I am so excited for it, right? It's word of mouth. Same thing. The customer I just left, how do you think they heard about me? I didn't knock a door. I didn't advertise it. It's word of mouth. Their neighbors bought solar years ago. One of my first customers ever is buying his third system from me this week. Okay, he called me up. He's like, hey, man, I just moved to another house. I'm ready for another system. All right, fantastic. I'll get you set up this Saturday. So I'm going out to his house. Another sale that I did last week that was a referral referred me out to 5 of her friends. I have one next week, the week after that, the week after that. And all of these end up buying almost every single time because their friend already vetted me. Their friend already told them, I'm a good movie. Go watch this one, right? So this is why it's so important. It's also a good way to spread personally by canvassing and calling. Calling, you're going to get hung up on. People don't like cold callers. People don't mind canvassers. It's one of the #1 forms of advertising to date, and it's the most profitable ones. So let's take a look at something. Why does it keep doing that? Boom, we're back. So, fun fact about football. Anybody here watch the Super Bowl? Want to learn something fun about Super Bowl ads? You ever heard that they're expensive?
Crazy.
Insane. At $6 million, NBC would be seeking a 9.1% increase over the $5.5 million CBS sought for 30 seconds of ad time in 2021 for the Fox press for Super Bowl. Guys, $5.5 million for 30 seconds. 30s. Can you guys imagine spending $5.5 million just to get your ad out there for 30 seconds? But everybody loves the Super Bowl ads. They're the funniest ads. You actually look forward to watching these commercials, right? Well, that's why they do it. So check it out. During the Super Bowl in 2020, Anheuser-Busch earned the top title of top spender. They invested $42 million in ads in 2020 in promoting their products. In comparison, the runner-up, Procter & Gamble, spent $11 million less than that on commercials during normal telecasts the whole year. So they spent $31 million the entire year. Anheuser-Busch said, yeah, just put it all on one game. Why do you think they did that?
Most viewed event.
Most viewed event of the year. And guess what everybody's drinking during that event? They're all drinking beer.
Really good engagement.
Right? Whether the team's winning or the team's losing, what are they drinking? They're drinking beer. So what do they want you to do at halftime? Go buy their beer. Because that's the one that you just saw, and it was funny. I haven't had Anheuser since I was like 20. I'm going to go buy a 24-pack. Right? They make most of that money back during the Super Bowl. So can you imagine making $42 million in a 3-hour game? That's crazy, right? But they do it. You know who else does it? Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Walt Disney, Comcast, Chrysler. All these companies put all this money into the Super Bowl ads for that reason. Now, do you guys have $5.5 million to spend on advertising? No. So I'm not going to teach you how to do that one. I'm going to teach you some other stuff. Like sales funnels. Sales funnels is one of the best forms of advertising that you guys can do online. It is tricky. It does take time to master. It's not one of those things that you can get done. Well, you might be able to. But get done and get 100 leads your first day. Okay. It takes time. You got to learn the algorithms, and I have more details in your guys's document library. I have sample ads. I have all kinds of stuff. And I'm actually going to show you guys examples of it today. Okay. So take a look at what it is with the sales funnels. You're casting a wide net and you got to narrow it down. Okay. It's literally a funnel. So now, no matter how simple or complex, the fact of a sales funnels work when they're built according to a certain universal principle. So case in point, 87% of consumers choose to do business with vendors who provide valuable content at all stages of the buying process. Who's watched YouTube videos? All of us, right? Perfect. Who's
Yep.
that? 2 seconds.
Yep.
Okay, I know who that is. We're good. All stages of right. So do you get pissed off when it's not a funny video and you sit there having to watch it for 10, 15 seconds and they don't let you press skip? You're irritated, but there's those ones that are kind of entertaining. It's like, oh, I could press skip, but what is this? Right? Those are the best ones. And sometimes you end up clicking those. Well, another reason why that one's popping up is guess what? Google's listening to you. Your phone is actually listening to you. They told you for years it wasn't, but they all lied. It's listening to you and it's actually relaying the information to these advertisers so that they can hit the algorithm so they can pop up. Now, there are ways to get on that algorithm at no cost or little cost, but the top spenders usually get up there. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys how to work around some of that stuff in the document library of your training and how to do all that. This is just the general stuff on how to get a sales funnel out there. So for instance, Zach went out there, he just graduated and did a certification on Saturday. He's already got, I think he's like 7 or 8 leads and he's already got appointments set. He's got a couple virtuals and he got some in persons, right? Just off of sales funnels. He's in Denver and it's cold and it's snowing. He doesn't want to go knock. Okay, cool. But he's already got more appointments than a lot of folks who start out because he went out and made the effort to do it. $10 is all he spent on boosting a post, right? And then Tommy's out there. He's already got his first sale, right? And all he did was just let everybody know on his Facebook, hey, guess what? I sell solar now. Oh, I've been wanting solar. So he's already got his first sale. So there's ways to do it for free, okay? So here's another fun fact. 63% of consumers need to hear a company's value proposition 3 to 5 times before they trust these claims. Okay, so that's about warm touches and soft touches. Guess who does that for you guys? We do. If a customer comes into a lead base, all you got to do is mark them that you've talked to them at some point, and we're going to send them soft touches every single month to remind them about solar. So that way they reach back out to you. So you don't have to remember to call your customers every couple of weeks or every month or so. And then nurtured leads make 47% larger purchase than the non-nurtured leads. This still works for solar because somebody who may be concerned about batteries may still want a battery, but they don't want to do it because they don't trust you. You didn't nurture them through the process. They're going to get the bare minimum. And then in addition to top, middle, and bottom, sales funnels have traditionally been structured around four sales funnel stages, also known by the acronym starting with an A. So this is the first stage of the sales funnel is awareness, sometimes referred to as the attention stage. So it's going to be broken up a couple of different ways. And you guys are going to see this. This deck is going to be available to you guys tonight. You guys are all going to get logins so you can actually download this yourselves and you can go back and watch it. Okay. So sometimes referred to as attention, the first stage of the sales funnel is where a brand catches the eye of a new audience members via marketing, content, and or a valuable baseline offer. The second stage is the interest stage. So here the brand will begin to forge a deeper relationship with prospects, becoming more actively involved in learning about their goals or problems. In doing so, they can begin providing preliminary solutions, allowing them to experience quick wins and become more engaged. Then you have desire. Consumers who reach the third funnel stage have become convinced that they do in fact have a larger problem that needs solving. Moreover, they're coming around to the idea of making a purchase to solve the problem. At some point, the brand showcases how their premium offering can be of service. And then action. There we go. The final stage of the sales funnel has prospects deciding to purchase or not purchase the premium brand's product or service. You need to reinforce the value of your offer, as well as downsides of not making the purchase. The sales funnel stage describes the general process of all of us go through, as well as some general action steps in order to take the prospects and move further down the funnel. Okay, so what does that mean? Have you guys ever clicked on one of these ads before? What happens after you watch that initial video that caught your attention? Does anybody remember?
They usually ask for your information.
Usually ask for your information. That usually happens at a point where there's usually an information stage though. They give you more detailed information, right? Click here to learn more, and then they can bring you to an article, and there's a bunch of little buttons where you can enter your information, and maybe even just a contact form right there. Or there's an additional video you can watch with an information box right below it, right? So that would be the interest, is when you click on it, it's like, oh, cool, they're interested. So now start playing the other video and then put the context box right below it where you fill this out. That's the desire form. So that's where it goes to your lead funnel. So you can call them and set the appointment so you can sit down and go through the actual presentation with them. Right. So this is the final stage. This is how the 4 stages work. So if you've been through that, you've actually seen that before. You've gone through it and you've clicked it. Like Alpha Brain. I love Alpha Brain. It actually works for me. Doesn't work for some people. Some people it makes them groggy. But I'm severely ADHD. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm super hyperactive. What does that mean? It works for me. They threw Joe Rogan up there and a bunch of athletes. I said, okay, I'm going to try it. I clicked on it. They gave more information on it. I filled out the form. They sent me the bottle and I was happy with it. Right. So now I continue to go back. This is all we're doing, but we're putting solar into the same equation. So it's that bait right in the beginning. Hey, 30 days free, whatever the case may be. Has anybody been on YouTube since they started talking about solar around their phone recently?
Yeah.
Have you seen
Yes.
ads pop up about solar?
Yeah.
A lot of them probably, right? You start seeing that, hey, if you have a meter that looks like this, right? You guys can make similar type of ads to that. We just have to approve them, okay? But people click those all day long. We have ads like that. People click them all day long because they talked about solar. So then you have the front end, the middle offer, and the back end. So depending on on what you're selling and who your target audience is, you'll want to tailor each of your stage of your funnels accordingly. So yes, you absolutely can have more than one funnel at any given time. This will become more and more clear in a bit. So AIDA is a great starting point, but there's a better way, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that, because the goal is to get to that dollar amount, right? So to give you guys an example, we have a ton of funnels that are running. So we just came up with a new bonus structure on how to get leads directly from us. You guys want to hear it? All you got to do is sell 5 systems in 1 month. That's it. That's half of what an average salesperson says. And then we turn on a specific sales funnel just for you. So that way you're getting ads that are specifically just for your territory, for you. Okay. So yeah, super cool. Everybody got super excited about that today when we announced it. So we'll have more and more funnels. So if it's going to be your territory, your utility, we can create some custom content just for you guys. We want to make sure we can help build those brands. But we do a lot of general sales funnels. We get those in, goes to your inbox, you call them, you set the appointment, you can go sit down with them. We also got another call center that we're bringing on. So we're talking about with Colossus, and those guys are going to be, that call center is going to be booking the appointment for us. So we don't have to do those as well. So those are premium set appointments. And those generally go to managers. So once you hit like that team lead level, you start seeing those drop in your calendar out of nowhere. You're going to be like, oh, cool. I got 2 appointments this weekend that you never had to get for yourself. So we got a lot more stuff like that coming up more and more every single day. So here are the 4 steps that we're talking about. So step number 1 is we got to get some traffic going. So typically is a little bit of money, right? So like a typical boost on Facebook starts at about $10. Now there are ways to get around that. The way that I do it, because I still do free boosts every once in a while, free posts every once in a while, is when I jump on, I'm going to hop on and I'm going to have 15 of my friends automatically share it out. That's going to catch me on the same algorithm as if I just spent $10. So write that down. 15 shares and comments. Sorry, 15 shares and comments on the same post will catch you on that algorithm. Also ask those people if they wouldn't mind sharing to a second place inside of a group, like a yard sale group or something like that. So family, friends, stuff like that, people who want to help you out and get you started. That's perfect. So 15 comments with 15 shares, and then share it into a group. You will get the same amount of traffic as somebody who just spent $10 a day on average. And that $10 a day should get you at least between 3 to 4 appointments that week. So if you got 3 to 4 appointments of somebody who wanted solar for free, that's the best way to do it. The other way to do it is going to be like yard sale groups and stuff like that. Get into your local community groups. Like out here in Tucson, I'm in one of the community groups that we have is called Rita Ranch Vale Community. And people are always asking about solar. So everybody that I know tags me every time somebody says, hey, I was thinking about getting solar. Who would you guys recommend? They tag me in it, message them personally. I got 3 of those last night. All 3 of those are now sitting down with me because they came onto the website and they saw that we're certified, and they canceled the appointments with the other companies that they were with. So I'm meeting with those folks next week. So I can sell 3 or 4 systems a week and never have to leave my house and never have to go knock a door. Is that going to mean that I'm consistent and I'm going to be doing that every single week? Absolutely not. But it's good ways to make sure that you're making the most money and you're being and you're taking advantage of all possibilities, right? So I'm going to give you guys these little tips along the way to make sure that you guys are doing that. So if you don't have an extra $10 right now, you don't call yourself out on this. I've been there. I've been there. You guys want to hear a story about how I started my company? Originally, the first one that I sold, I started with negative $2,000 in my checking account, a repossessed car, a torn out eyeball, a broken leg, and a broken hand. My ex took everything from me and left me with just my son.
Wow.
Yeah, it was, she tried to kill me. My left eye, like I'm still have damage in this eye. I can't see out of it perfectly anymore. But okay, I didn't have a choice. I was working for another solar company at the time. I was a regional manager for them. And I was sitting down. I was sitting down at my grandma's house. And somebody from, I won't say the name of the company, either one of these companies, because one of them, I can say Solar City was the one that knocked on the door. The other company is still in business, and we don't even consider them competition, but I don't like to trash other companies. So Solar City guy knocked on the door, and I told him, like, hey, let him in. I want to see how he does. Maybe I want to recruit him. Right. So he knocks on the door. He comes in, sits down, goes through it, does a pretty good job. And then he gets down to the end of it. He has her sign what's called the ghost account. So the beginning of their thing was save your price, and they sign it. It's a DocuSign. What happens on DocuSign once you sign your name on it?
You have to stay forever.
He clicked through it for her to lock her into the contract. And then he scheduled the site survey for 10 days out so she couldn't cancel the contract.
Oh,
Yeah. As soon as I realized what he was doing, I took the tablet, I smashed it, kicked him out of the house. I called the vice president of the company I was working for at the time. And I told him, dude, can you believe this just happened? And I'd only been with him for about 2 months at this point. He said, well, sometimes that's what you got to do to get the sale. Okay, I quit. So what? Yep, I quit. And the very next day, I got in touch with Jack Walker, who was with Titan, and I signed up, and they were my first installer. And I built my company from that point with broken arm, broken leg, torn out eyeball, repoed car, negative $2,000 in checking account, a laptop that was literally falling apart. And I went and I walked 7 miles because I didn't even have $1 to get on the bus. When I said negative, I was negative. I walked 7 miles to the territory I was going to be knocking. I knocked from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every single night, came home, built the websites. I sold 57 systems that month, and then just continued building out the company from that point. Didn't even hire somebody for the first 6 months that I was building the company. Okay. So it is completely possible to do it no matter how much money you currently have in your bank account, because it goes down to desire at that point. Okay. So I share that story with you guys, let you guys know, like, I didn't start my original company with a giant investment and getting out loans and doing all this other stuff. It was literally sweat equity is what I put into it. And yeah, I didn't sleep much, but that first month I did over $250,000 in commissions just in 1 month, all from fresh knocks, no leads, no nothing. Okay. So I'm going to teach you guys the same type of stuff that I did to get to that point. Do I expect you guys to knock doors for 12 hours a day and not sleep and walk to a new territory? Absolutely not. We make it easier for you guys. Okay. So step 2 is going to be the top of the funnel. This is where people come in. This is where it's going to be like a soft touch and you start having some constant contact. This is like daily follow-ups. This is where sometimes you start to get a little bit pissed off at a company because every single day they're sending you reminders. It's like, hey, you came to our website, you wanted something, right? Then you have that middle of the funnel. So this is where you start calling and texting. They submitted some type of information and now you got to get in touch with them. So this is where you try to set that lead, set that appointment. And the bottom of the funnel is where they're a hot lead. This is that constant follow-up. You've already delivered the proposal. Maybe they didn't buy the first time, but now you got to keep in contact with them so that they don't go buy solar from another company because they forget that you exist, right? So this is kind of how that funnel works down and at what point you need to do. But first you need that traffic, then you need to reach out to set the appointment in order to sit down with them or do the virtual with them, right? So these are those main 4 steps. So let's look at the actual 6 steps inside of it. So if we go through the actual debate, the front end and all that other stuff, we have this little mini funnel that goes through it. Okay. So number 1 is you have to know your offer. Before you ever put on a post, before you ever have that conversation with the customer, before you ever try to get them to click your link, you need to know what you're trying to offer that customer. For us, it's a free consultation. We're going to give you free information that's specific for your home. Excuse me, that's specific for your home on how you can go solar. Then you could start getting traffic. It's got to be an enticing offer, right? Then the number 2 is that bait. So now you start submitting it for traffic and you start getting on that algorithm. Now you got to get them to click that link so that you can show them that front end promo. And then you can, okay, cool. All we need is a copy of your utility bill. Do you live in this home or do you live in this territory? Do you have this utility company? And then you have the middle offer, which is the contact form. And then you can actually sit down and have that negotiation and close with them. Okay, this is where we do the proposals. So again, this is all built out for you guys. You just have to go on to the document library. It's called the reference library in the app, and download the form, and you can post it. It's good to go. And ClickFunnels is awesome. So if you guys do want to do it, they do like a 30-day or 14-day free trial now. 14 days for free. It's awesome, and there's a really cool tutorial. There's a lot of really cool tutorials on how to use it and get the most out of the 14 days, and get some free leads out of that too. So the front end offer is the surface or general needs, a low price, low risk offer that provides new value to new customers aligned to solve surface level issues with minimal investment. What do we mean by this? Well, do you want to save money on your electric bill, right? Do you want to stop paying high utility prices? That's the type of stuff that we're looking to do. Okay. Step number 2 of that, or part number 2 of that, is once your prospective customer is taking you up on your bait offer, you'll want to send them directly to the landing page, or squeeze page is what it's called, to showcase your leveled premium offer. This is that second one where you have an additional video, or you have that the actual list article type thing. Okay. And then after that part of it, those who see the sales focused content have been pre-qualified to your bait offer, meaning that they should be interested in your premium product or service, which means that if you're a homeowner in Arizona and you have a meter that looks like this, they're qualified to go on to the next step, right? So you have to give some type of qualification in order for them to want to submit their information. So I'm giving you guys steps, but I've already redone it. I've already redone it for you guys. So that is if you're able to keep their attention effectively and communicate your true value of your offer. So it all goes back to keeping them engaged. So writing the ad copy is important. Okay. So again, I have ad copies for you guys. So a copy needs to quickly communicate the value of your premium, of your offer, and prime your audience to take action. So you need to let your brand personality come through, be relatable, be a relatable character. Don't be like that. Some of you guys aren't old enough to remember this guy that used to come up on TV at like 11 p.m. and he had that giant mansion and cars and all those and all kinds of girls around him. Like, that's not a relatable character unless you're trying to like get rich quick scheme, right? So be real with people. I have an old, we're redoing it. I'm actually negotiating right now with a couple of the local news stations. We're restarting Solar Coach. Solar Coach was my old brand. That was my thing that I did for my company. And we're going to do it again for you guys, where during the news, I'm on a 1-minute segment that answers general questions about solar. Okay. And you say, hey, we're welcoming back Chris Tricola with the Solar Coach with blank company. Can't say the name of the company. I can't even show you guys the video because it has the logo and the name of the company on there. But with blank company, nice to see you again, Chris. Oh, good to be here. So tell us about the tax credits. So tax credits are designed for the person who purchases the panels. If you lease the equipment, you don't own the panels, which means that you can't actually qualify for the tax credit. You'd have to be the original purchaser. And that also means that if you buy a house that has pre-existing solar, you don't qualify for the tax credits unless it was a new build, a new construction home that has solar on it. Okay, great. And that what they would do is that every single week, throughout that week, they would have on their social media, ask us questions about solar, and Chris would answer it. That got us quickly to the #1 solar company in Southern Arizona within 6 months. Okay. And that was when I first started my old company. Okay. So I want to do more stuff like that, but it's characters like that, right? YouTube channels. There's some people who've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, be a solar YouTuber. It's pretty cool. You might get a few followers and you might get a couple leads out of it, but it shows some credibility because now you can send to people who have questions. It's like, look, I've recorded these 15 videos that explain a lot of this stuff for you. And you guys can just use us as that as well. You can use me. When we do Solar Coach, I don't do that for my benefit. Am I going to close all those leads? Absolutely not. Who do you think you're going to get those leads? It's going to be you guys, right? So you guys will be able to send them to our YouTube page and do it. I just have to restart that as soon as I have time to do that. When Vinny kicks me out of my spot, which is great, I can go on, I can start creating that content again and have Solar Coach back up and running and re-explain it back to customers under SPP. So in short, speak directly to your audience and don't overcomplicate things. So I put that up before I talk about the rest of the stuff because it's important. You need to shorten your sentences and paragraphs, but provide more depth to it. So you got to be very specific and pointed to your conversation, what you're trying to say in those sentences, and have it at 6th grade level. Don't use big words. You guys are going to hear me say it a lot through your career with me. Is you have to explain as if you're speaking to a 5-year-old. If a 5-year-old understands it, a homeowner will understand it. Okay. There's going to be very few people who want to know the details of the type of equipment and the racking and all this other stuff. And then use bullet points or numbered lists, just like I'm doing here. And then include headers, subheaders, and then make sure that you have a picture every 200 to 300 words. Okay. So be short and specific. Now, social proof is also great. Testimonials. So you see a lot of companies who put social proof and they make sure that testimonials always show up. You see a lot of handwritten testimonials, video testimonials. We have one you guys saw during the virtual interview where we have a testimonial about one of our installs, right? Those things work great. Social proof is great for ad copies. Most solar companies do this with screenshots of utility bills as well. So as your customers start to get more utility bills with 0 and negative and super small bills, have them send you pictures of that, and you can put together. Us old folks used to call it proof books before you guys had computers and tablets that you can just have it all stored on. So create a file, okay? And then call to action. This is the next part. No matter what you're offering on your given squeeze page, it needs to be crystal clear what your audience needs to do to receive it. You need to get us a copy of your utility bill, or you need to put in your information here so we can sit down with you to get the proposal. We're not just going to give them what the general price is. I do have a funnel for that as well, because that does work sometimes, but it's not one that I would recommend that you guys use until you have so many customers that you don't know what to do, and you're recruiting for a team. It's like, I just want to get people who already know what the general price is, and we can show them a better price when we sit down, right? So that's available to see. I wouldn't recommend it, but we did build out a solar calculator page that you guys can play with. And then don't beat around the bush. Okay, make sure your call to action stands out. You guys have always seen it. It says register here, pre-qualify here, and they have it in multiple different points of the page itself. And then I had an example, I took it out, so I got to delete that. But in some cases, you might even want to include your call to actions at the top, bottom, and even middle of the page. So the last thing you want to do is for your engaged audience is to not engage you further, because they have to scroll or try to figure out where they can apply for the consult, right? So the middle offer, a progressively more valuable and intense solution that helps customers solve a more in-depth problem. So we went over that briefly, and it's really simple. The back end offer is the valuable offer. This is where we sit down with the customer. We do not deliver information until we sit down. There's a give and take. We're going to give you free information, but you have to hear us out. We're not just going to send you the proposal. So if somebody ever asks you, can you just send me the proposal? Nope, I can't. I get credit just to give it to you. A financial advisor is not going to just give you the entire analysis they just spent 30 days working on to make sure that they can, have you read it over and understand it yourself, right? We do the same thing. We do the same thing when we're canvassing and when we're setting appointments any other way. So you have to make sure that they understand that this is a give and take. I have to deliver this proposal to you. Is your doctor going to call you over the phone and tell you what your test results are? Do they make you come back in?
Come back in.
They can come in. You guys know why?
They get paid for that visit.
They get paid for that visit. They can't charge you for a phone call, but they can charge you for a visit, right? So it's like, all right, cool. Dude, it's like important. No, okay, I ain't coming in, right? I'll hear it on my next checkup. You know, if it's important, it's like, yeah, I need you to come in. Okay, cool. I'll come in and I'll let my insurance go ahead and take care of that one. So here's the wrap up, guys. The thing is, there's no guarantee that a customer will simply move to the next level of your funnel, right? Some people are just comfortable where they're at. You know, they don't believe it. They heard bad things about solar, and it's going to take you time and a lot of re-engagement of that customer in order to make sure that they actually come back and set the appointment. So instead of heavy-handedly pushing a most valuable offer, you want to just keep people engaged with your brand, right? Your own personal brand is what you're trying to build. Family and friends are always going to be your number one, right? Your friends are going to hear people talking about solar. Hey, you know, my friend actually sells solar. Let me go ahead and give him your phone number. Okay. Oh, okay, great. Right. 3 of my neighbors came up to me last week. All 3 of them, all of them have solar from me. Hey, I was at a party. One was at party, one was at work, and one of them was at church. Last week and the week before. And those were their stories. They told me, hey, I was at, and they said, you know, overheard somebody talking about solar, and can I give you their phone number? Absolutely. And they're now a referral. Okay. So make sure people know that you're solar, because I still have had it happen. One of my friends, and I got so pissed off at them. They went with one of our competitors and they overpaid on solar because they forgot that I own a solar company. My fault, right? Completely my fault. Good news is they were able to cancel that contract and still went with me. So make sure, because they call me like, hey, it's so great. You just got solar. Dude, I own a solar company. You're calling the wrong person to brag to. So make sure that your family and friends know what you do for a living and that you sell solar. Okay. Because even the best of us forget sometimes. And basically this involves whatever you can do to continue providing value to the people and they're giving purchases. Don't be that person that makes their entire job their life, right? As long as people know what you do, you're good. Don't just go pushing it on every single person. Any questions about funnels before we move on? I'm going to show you guys a couple of examples real quick. Data. And you guys are going to be getting all your logins for your emails tonight. If you can't log in, just reset the password, because if it says, hey, this link has been expired, you're going to click reset password. So let's go here. You guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Cool. So yeah, that's me today. So if I go to reference library, here we have the band messaging, equipment spec sheets, sales materials, training documents. It's all right here in your reference library. In your video library, you have the solar ITC recap, the video, an example video of me doing a proposal, Brian navigating you guys through what the proposal is, and then the bill review, which you guys are going to get to see tomorrow. So right here, let's take a look at sales materials and go to approved ads. And you can download any of these right here. Okay. Once you click on it, it just downloads it. So let me take a look. Which one do I like? Well, you're just creating the ad, right? So I'm creating the ad. Here is some interest stuff, right? So it's a little bit, it's similar to what we did before. Your why, your calls to action, your audiences. It walks you through on how to do it. And you could take one of these other ones and just plug that stuff into it. Now, oh yeah, the done for you funnels. There it was. Sales funnels. I don't know what. Let me try to delete it again. That was the old one. Yeah, it won't delete. The done for you funnels. So we have our solar calculator webpage, solar calculator widget. So it's the same one, but you can actually just put the widget into like a Facebook post and it'll pull up the widget so that they can put in their address and see how much an average system would cost. We have a cool contest. And then you have 8 energy hacks, which is another one, which is pretty cool. So we have some really cool funnels for you guys to try to make it, pretty consistent. All your other sales stuff is inside there as well. Any questions about that, except for how to get there? Because I'll go over that later at the end.
So we can use any of those widgets for our sales.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're your guys' to use. So and all that stuff is pre-approved. So if you have an ad that you want to use, you can use your own ad. However, you guys do have to send it into go ahead and write it down. Support, SUPPORT at TitanSPP.com. That's going to get it to our marketing team and to our legal team to make sure that it's in compliance and there's nothing that needs to be changed. Okay.
Can you say that one more time?
Support.
The link.
Yeah. Support
Mhm.
at Titan, TITAN, SPP.com.
Thank you.
Your guys' emails tonight that are going to be made and sent out to you are the first letter of your first name, your full last name at TitanSPP.com.
Can you say the email one more time?
Yeah, for your emails, it's going to be the first letter of your first name.
No.
Oh, the
I mean the marketing.
yes. Support, SUPPORT at TitanSPP.com. So I'm going to put
And our emails are the first letter of our first name and then our full last name at TitanSPP.com.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
So the only Chris at TitanSPP.com is me. The only Brian at TitanSPP.com is Brian. Everybody else is first letter of their first name and then full last name at TitanSPP.com. And it's a Gmail server. So you guys will actually be able to log in through your Gmail apps, which means you'll also have Gmail calendars, Google calendars, and all that other stuff. And you can use it for YouTube. So you can create your own YouTube page with that one as well if you wanted to do it. And you can use it to log into other services like Facebook and all that other good stuff. So it is a full Gmail account, fully registered and can be used just like any other Gmail you use. Okay. Cool. So all those will be sent over to you tonight. If you don't get the email in time to click the link, like let's say, you went to bed and I sent it out, a little bit too late because they're scheduled to go out at 9 p.m. They've already been created, but they're scheduled to go out at 9 p.m. tonight at my time because of the old training schedule. Then what would end up happening is that tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., that link will not be active. You're just going to have to click reset password and just type it in and log in and create a new password. If that doesn't work, just call me or you can text me or you can email support and they can send you a reset password link and you can log in because, your CRM email will be in that email as well. Okay. So we're not going to send your CRM email to your personal emails. That goes directly to your company email. Any other questions about that?
Nope.
Canvassing. So canvassing is a systematic initiation of direct contact with individuals commonly used during political campaigns. Canvassing can be done for many reasons: political campaigning, grassroots funding, community awareness, membership drives, and more. Campaigners knock doors to contact people personally. Well, guess what we do? We knock doors so we can contact them personally as well, right? So I'm going to teach you guys the 5 steps that I have developed over the course of my career and developed a program that has worked in 6 different industries and has awarded me. Now, 2 of my records have been broken. So now 4 out of 6 of the industries I still maintain records in that I haven't been in over almost a decade now, because of this program that I developed. Okay. And it's just a variation of a program that worked for Kirby back in the day. So I'm a firm believer, people fail, programs don't, right? I'm going to teach you guys this program. It's going to seem odd. It's going to seem a little bit off. It works for calls as well. It works just as well for calls as it does as doors. The 5 steps aren't odd. It's the way that we aim. It's the way that we do objection handling. You guys, it's different than what you've ever taught. So if you have sales training, throw it out the window. You don't need it. I promise you, you don't need it for this. So here's a couple things that you need to know. Okay. So when it comes to canvassing, most companies give a script, right? So scripts are good because they can help you memorize what you need to say and when you need to say it. The downside is there's a lack of flexibility when it comes to overcoming objections. So we do a step program. How is a step program different? So do the same thing for sales too. Scripts are still available to help you know what to say and when to say it. But when the customer gives you an objection or you're interrupted, instead of finding your place in your script, you're able to continue with the step that you were interrupted on. So it's easier to know where you left off rather than, what part of your script you got interrupted on. And then it gives sales professionals the ability to use their own personality and their own skills. You guys were all hired for a reason. You have good communication skills. You guys are good salespeople. So we don't want to get rid of any of that. We just want to add to your toolbox, right? And then the best part is it doesn't create robots and allows for a candid conversation. Now, what should I remember? A couple things you remember. This is interchangeable with phones. Okay. You're buying their time at the door every 10 seconds. You only have 10 seconds to engage them and get them back involved with what you're doing next. The longer a section of your pitch is, the higher chance a customer will go off script and ask a question that's irrelevant. So your customer is actually on a script and they don't even know it. You guys will see why here shortly when we do a copy of it. So end each step with a yes or no question and respond with positive statements no matter what they say. And the last thing that's really important to remember is that they don't have enough information to say no yet. So any objection that they give you is just a smoke screen. You always finish your pitch. This will all make sense more at the end of this training. So just remember those as we go through this. Okay, so I'll give you guys a few more minutes to write that stuff down, especially that last. If you just want to write down those last 4 important parts, that's really all you need, because I want you going back because you guys will remember it.
So if you're knocking and, you give your pitch and everything, and somebody is just basically at this point, like yelling in your face to go away.
Oh yeah, no, if they're yelling at you, you walk away. So here's how I started in door to door. I was a mean person. All right. I told you guys a little bit about that before. There's another Marine on here and he knows how we're trained as soon as we get out. Like, we're just told that civilians are garbage. Am I wrong or right?
Absolutely
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. It's
My husband was a Marine. He just got out last November.
He's still a Marine. Unless he was dishonorably discharged, he's still a Marine.
Yeah.
Once a Marine. So
Always a
yes, sir. So we're not nice people when we first get out into civilian life. And I definitely was not one of those, and I used to cuss people out all the time, and it was a problem. Guys, this is not a PC story. I don't want to get anybody getting pissed off at me. Okay. Just know it is, but it's not. I just don't want anybody getting offended. I like to preface it with it because it's a funny story and it worked really well. And it got me to who I am today. And I'm very proud of it. And it's not meant to discourage anybody or their lifestyles or anything. I just want to put that out there right there. I can't believe I gotta say this stuff nowadays. So anyways, I was a very, very, very mean person when I got out. And Matt Walker brought me in. He was the owner of the Kirby office. I go into training. I didn't even know I was selling vacuums. I didn't know what I was doing. I just answered an ad in a newspaper, and the guy didn't give me any information on the job. He's like, "You're hired." I'm like, oh, "Okay, cool. I come back for training on Monday, I guess." So Matt saw me standing out there. I was the only one in a shirt and tie. He says, "Put that guy on my van." I'm like, I'm 21 years old. Never really done sales. I did sales for a little bit at car dealers. I was like 18 years old before I went to the Marines, and I didn't have much other experience other than that, right? And so I end up getting on the van. They're showing me how to put this Kirby together in the back of the van. Okay. I didn't know. I'm like, okay, I didn't even realize it was a vacuum. So they throw me inside of houses. I'm trying to figure out how to do this job. So every day I'm taking notes. At the end of the first day, Matt made me shake his hand and give him a 30-day commitment. I'm like, okay, all right, cool. So I gave him a 30-day commitment, and he did a lot of personal training with me, and he coached me through a lot of stuff, and I learned how to do the sale. After 3 weeks, well, I had just left San Diego. I had a heart and lung failure. I left everything behind, and I followed some girl out to Mississippi, and I'm just standing on the beaches out there before I get this job. I lived an hour and a half away from the office in a little town called Wiggins, Mississippi. The office was in Gulfport, Mississippi, and I drove out there every day. I had to borrow her stepdad's car to get to work. I had to borrow his clothes, and he was a third of my size. So this shirt is like completely coming undone over my chest, and the pants didn't fit. So I had to hide it with the belt. And it was just, I looked horrible. I thought apparently I was able to pull it off. And he only had the one pair for me to borrow, so I had to wash it every night after work. And we knocked doors from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. Okay. So I didn't sell anything the first 3 weeks. I'm lying to her parents and to her the entire time that, yeah, no, I got commission coming, blah, 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 right? We were also there was a qualification to be able to go to the Bahamas if you sell 15 Kirby's in a 3-month period. I had started the last month of that promo, and I had lied to the girls. Yeah, I sold so many. We're already going to the Bahamas. So I'm like, I need to get out of this, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to quit. I hadn't sold anything. I'm borrowing money every single day. It's getting really, really bad. So I go into Matt's office. I tell him, dude, look, I got to quit. I can't do this anymore. And he just looked at me dead in the eye. He's like, I thought you were a Marine. I thought you were a man of your word. Effing P. I'm like, oh, don't do. Okay. All right. Whatever. Fine. I'll stick out I got like 9 days. I'll stick it out. Right. He's like, dude, just go in there. Just watch what Randy's doing and just take down notes and just do the program. I promise you're going to sell. Throw everything else out of your mind. Just do exactly what he does. I'm like, all right, cool. So I watched Randy, and I ended up selling 15 Kirby's in those 9 days. Qualified to go to the Bahamas. Okay. So now I knew how to sell, and now I was selling pretty consistently. But the canvassers refused to knock me into houses because, the team leads didn't want the canvassers to put me in the house. They wanted them to put new people in the houses. I was supposed to set my own appointments now. So now I still didn't know how to knock doors, and I was absolutely horrendous at it. And I was still cussing people out because I couldn't believe it happened. So we had this very flamboyant gay man named Jason. Okay. Jason was one of the coolest people I ever met in my entire life. He had a rainbow mohawk that went up to like here. Okay. He wore glitter on his face every single day. The dude got into every freaking house he knocked on. So I'm like, dude, do you mind if I shadow you? I need to figure this out. He's like, no, come along with me. So he starts knocking me into houses. I'm shadowing him. And I do this for about a week. He's like, all right, you're starting to take my sales. I'm not going to knock you in the house anymore. Let me just finish out the day. So I watch him for the rest of the day. He's like, dude, go knock a door. And I was just terrified because I didn't want to mess up again. Right. And I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go do it. He's like, just do it exactly the way I do it. Okay. Now, he didn't talk like that at all, and you guys are about to find out why, because this is how my pitch came out. The second the old lady answered the door, and she was the sweetest thing in the entire world. Hey, don't mean to bug you. We're out in the area, do some old-fashioned advertising. And she let me inside the house. I'm like, okay, cool. I did that for about a month, every single house like that. But I realized, okay, now I got to do that when I'm inside the house. And then I knocked on the door of a very aggressive gay man. And he kept trying to grab my butt the entire time I was trying to show the Kirby, because Amos is an asshole and wanted to make sure that I got punished for getting in more houses than everybody else. Literally, I'm knocking somebody else in, and he says, Chris, go get your stuff, with a giant smile on his face. And I'll never forget the smile on his face because he knew exactly what he was doing. And the entire time, I'm like, all right, fine. So every time I bent over to change the dirt pads, like, oh my God, it's a lot of dirt, right? I was 21 years old and I was making money. Okay. I had to shortly figure out what was I doing differently in order to make it work, right? So that's how my pitch got developed. It's very shortly turned into some other stuff. Like it would just be simply like, okay, cool. So when it was a woman and her husband wasn't home, the fact that like my hands would go limp for a second, I'm no longer a threat. So I incorporated that. And then I figured out lately, like that wasn't even the deal. I was excited. Like there was an enthusiasm in what I was doing and they were getting excited about it. And they started letting me in. Became one of the top canvassers in the entire company, worldwide, not just that office, worldwide in all of Kirby franchises. And I became a corporate regional trainer. I owned 3 franchises. And I owned over three franchises within 2 years. And I ended up killing it from that point, right? So I'm going to teach you guys what I learned the hard way so you guys can do it right the first time. Okay. I don't want you guys to go through the crap that I went through and have anybody try to grope you. So we're going to do this. There are 6 rules that I follow when canvassing. Number 1, you need to ask the right questions. The top salespeople know when and what to ask and why they're asking it. I still do it. I've done it this entire time. I keep pausing and asking, right? Even though you guys aren't going to answer me. It's a way to re-engage a customer. That's called a yes or no question. You want to stop this. You want to stop a point in your pitch to re-engage them and make sure that they're paying attention. Every 10 seconds, you're buying 10 more seconds of time. That's the beauty of the yes or no question. We're going to stop our pitch, ask a yes or no question, make sure they're being engaged. Every time you make a statement, you can actually turn that statement into a question. Can't you? Oh, case in point, right? Oh, another one, isn't it? Oh my God, it works. And you'll start to see that your conversations start seeming less one-sided, even if you're the one doing most of the talking. Open-ended questions are a completely different type of question. This is a question that's going to engage somebody to open up and speak about something. This is how you make a friend. This is how you engage people in normal everyday conversation. What do you think about this? Tell me about that. Talk about this for me. When you're asking them a question, have you ever been on vacation? That's a yes or no. Where did you go? Open-ended. What did you do while you were there? Open-ended. Did you have fun? Yes or no. So you can change that last one, yes or no, to so what did you do for fun? What was the most fun thing you did while you were there? What was the least fun thing while you were there? If you had to recommend this to somebody, what would you say about it? Right? Instead of would you recommend this to somebody? If you had to recommend going to that place for somebody, like what would you say? It's a great way to make a friend. And then either or questions or win-win questions, depending on your sales trainer or what type of sales training you've been in, you've heard it either one of these ways, either or win-win. This is the way that this is when you give them 2 or 3 options so that they can choose between the 2. So if I want to get a specific answer out of you, guys, try this with your wives. What do you want to eat tonight? Pizza or Italian? Right? You will never get, I don't know again. Promise you, I don't care. Wives, try this with your husbands. What do you want to do this weekend? Would you rather go camping or would you rather go to the store? Right? Or if you want to go shopping and they don't, would you rather go to Walmart or would you rather go to Home Goods? Right? Give options instead of leaving it open-ended, and they're going to respond to one of those. And then if you want to get a very specific answer out of yes or no, it's really hard to say no to somebody when they're going like this. Isn't that right? It feels uncomfortable, doesn't it? You don't want to say no. You want to say yes to me. Honey, do you want to stay in tonight and just watch a movie and cuddle, and then you can go slip into that nice little thing? Yeah. Yeah, it's great, right? It works. I promise you it's going to work. Now, if you use it in your relationships more than 4 or 5 times in a short period of time, they're going to catch on and it ruins it for the rest of your relationship. I promise you that. So make sure you use it sparingly. With customers, you're with them for a short period of time. You can engage with them. You guys are going to see me do it in my proposal. I make sure I do that a lot. Every time I get an answer from a customer I don't like, it's because I didn't give them the prompt on what I needed them to say. Okay, so I'm going to teach you guys about my prompts too. So does everybody understand the either or questions, or do they need me to give them another example? I'm pretty good at this, huh?
Pretty good.
Yeah. Couldn't tell me no because I wasn't shaking my head. You didn't want to tell me no, did you?
No.
Try it, guys. It works. It's a simple. You're gonna feel like a goofball the first couple times. Do it with a smile too. Okay. This also goes along. Yeah, no, I have it in there. Okay. So the second point, which I said earlier, people fail, programs don't. So this comes with experience and training. Okay. Practice the program the way it was intended, because there's a way to do a program that's not intended. So think about the things that don't exist anymore. Circuit City didn't have a really good program, did they? But Best Buy did, and they followed that program. Who's still around today?
Best Buy.
Best Buy, right? LG is no longer in the phone game. They are no longer in the battery or solar game at all. Why is that? They didn't follow the program. They tried to do something different that didn't actually work, right? Their panels, they had decent panels, but the rest of the program that they were using, it just didn't work. Same thing with the phones. They tried a completely different platform that might work with Google, but it was just garbage the entire way because they didn't follow the program on what worked, which is why we have two major competitors today. It's like, yeah, Motorola is still out there, but that's more like you see it and you're like, oh, Motorola's still there, but you're usually going in to buy one or two phones. What are they?
Apple or Samsung.
Apple or Samsung, right? Nobody's like, oh, I got the new Motorola, and just like, oh yeah, Motorola still exists. It's like, oh yeah, Motorola, I should probably go get a Samsung, right? Word of mouth, right? Talk to an Android user, you ask them about Apple, what are they going to say, right? Goes back to word of mouth too. So it's following that program. We have a specific program. Guess what you're going to try to do? You're going to try to change the program to make it work for you instead of you work for the program. And guess what's going to happen? You have the same result as LG, Motorola, and Circuit City. Okay. So I promise you, it's not easy, but it will work. It will work. And another important step 3, okay, rule number 3 is don't prejudge. Don't carry past losses forward. We've all heard about that, right? So I go a little bit more in depth. When it comes to doors and phone calls, they don't know you. So if they're in a bad mood, is it because of you? They just don't know you. They weren't expecting you, right? They answer the door and they're shocked. They weren't expecting you to knock on the door. If they answer the phone, they're like, oh my God, who's this? It's because people normally text them and don't call them. They weren't expecting you. You don't know what's going on the other side of that door. Have we all had days like that where randomly something happens and it kind of ruins the rest of our day? Absolutely. So don't let that ruin yours. The person you talked to at that last house didn't move in the 10 seconds it took you to get to the other door. I think that's one of the most important ones. Just because that person's a jerk doesn't mean this person's going to be a jerk. Okay. Matt taught me that a long time ago. He dropped me off at a freaking house with a guy who threatened to pull a gun on me because I was a dick. And that was my fault that he did that. But as soon as he dropped me off back at that house, I didn't recognize the guy answers the door. It's like, oh, snap. I hope you're nice to the guy who answered the front door. Broke it. And we ended up joking. I got in the house. He bought a couple Kirby's from me, one for him and one for his mom. But it's the guys, they don't move within seconds of you knocking the door. Does that mean the neighbor's going to be the same way? The previous guy could have been in his fight with his spouse. Dog could have died. Something happened that caused them to have that attitude. They didn't know you were coming, right? And then despite what they say, they haven't heard it before. They don't know what you're doing. And you're not the person that they talked to before. You guys were just out here. No, I wasn't, right? Somebody from another solar company was out there. But are they certified? I can tell you right this. What's the answer? They are not certified. There's only one company that certifies their sales reps. You know which one it is?
This one.
You guys.
This one. You guys are here.
Pro.
So does it matter what the other solar company said? Absolutely not.
Nope.
Number 4, have the right attitude, respond with the right attitude. So your attitude will determine the attitude of your customer. If the customer gives you a negative response or objection, respond positively. It changes their perception and spins the conversation in a positive direction that you control. It's also important when transitioning between steps to say something like good, great, fantastic, amazing, exactly, awesome. These are perfect responsive. And don't interrupt the customer. Be assertive, not aggressive. So guys, here's the deal. We all have friends, right? We all talk to our friends a certain way. It's not about what you say. It's about how you say it. Because I could look at you, I'm not going to say the actual word, but if we're buddies and we're laughing and when something happens, I'm like, dude, F you, right? Do you ever get offended by your friend saying that to you? No. But if your friend looks you dead in the eye, straight face, says, F you. Oh, what did I do? Right? It's not about what you say, it's about how you say it. Right? Same thing at the doors, which goes with rule number 5. Enthusiasm. Why did I start setting appointments? Was it because I just jumped up and I changed my voice? No, it was because I was excited. When I'm excited about something, other people get excited about it too. Right? Who's ever talked to a 5-year-old? They are the most excited things in the entire world. And for some reason, you become totally engaged in it. And they're talking about nothing, but it's the most interesting story because they're so excited about it, right? That's what you guys have to be, is that excited 5-year-old sometimes, right? When you're knocking doors, am I saying just jump out there and you have to be as animated as me? Absolutely not. Okay? Absolutely not. There are more successful people than me. Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I'm number 1 canvasser in way too many industries for that. But there are plenty of successful people who don't do exactly what I do. They follow the same type of rules, but they don't do the engaging stuff that I do. There's a super famous door knocking dude. He's freaking hilarious. He sells spray, and the dude he's a trip, but he engages these people and he just makes them laugh the entire time. Okay. Each customer and you got to use the meet and increase rule. So I have a very specific rule called the meet and increase. You have to meet that customer's energy level and bring it up 1, because you want to dictate the attitude. So if they answer the door and they're angry, you're not going to start out with, hey, how you doing? It's going to irritate them. If they're terrified that somebody's at their door, you don't want to, hey, how you doing? It's going to scare the living God out of them, right? So you want to meet their energy and increase it by 1, okay? In a positive way, not a negative. If they're angry, you don't want, dude, why did you answer the door like that? No, don't get confrontational. Be assertive, not aggressive, right? So it's like, hey, what are you doing on my porch? Hey, good to see you. Sure, the neighbors told you about me, right? You're going to see their attitude change. If you're not scared, they're not scared. If you're jittery, guess what the customer's going to be? Because you're at their house. They're going to be terrified that you're there, right? You're going to screw up. You're going to fumble over your pitch. You're going to completely just wreck it. Some of you may forget your name the first time you knock a door. Promise you it's going to happen. It's okay. I forgot my name. Hi, I'm can you help me? It's okay. It's okay. I've never done it before and I got really, really good at it, right? But you keep increasing the level. So if they start off and they're like, hey, how are you? Well, hey, nice to see you. I'm Chris. I'm with SPP. I'm sure your neighbors told you about me, Bob and Mary, right? Yeah, great. And there's, oh yeah, I know Bob and Mary. Yeah, no, they're awesome people. They were like offering me like brownies and stuff. Anyways, and then they get to that point and you just keep bringing them up and all of a sudden you guys are like high-fiving and hugging at the door. It's awesome, right? What other people do is they just match that person's tone and it just stays monotone the whole time, right? What's the most exciting part of a roller coaster? On the way down, right? So you got to get them to that point to where you can just slide down together. That's the appointment set. And they better be ready to tip over that edge. Otherwise, they don't want to set that appointment with you. Smiling is contagious. All right. And then your energy starts on the street. It doesn't start when they answer the door. So you guys have heard the term smile and dial, right? Smile before you dial the phone because they can tell it comes out through your voice. So, for example, I'm going to go ahead and turn off my camera. Can you guys tell if there's a little bit of a change in my voice? And I'm going to go ahead and smile, and it's going to change it just very slightly, right? It's a slight change. Some people pick up on it more than others. When you guys are out on the street, guess what? They saw you. You guys ever have somebody turn around in your driveway before? Yeah, it's not fun sometimes, right? The customers I just sold, they live in a cul-de-sac. Guess what people do all day long? Guess all he's doing? He's on his ring all day long, watching the neighborhood. He knows when somebody's coming to his house. He has cameras all over the place. He knows when somebody's in the neighborhood talking to the neighbors, right? So if you're out there kicking cans and kicking rocks and you're pulling leaves off of the freaking bushes and you're not even you're yelling at dogs, they heard you. They saw you when they were driving home. They peeked out the window. They saw you when they were getting their mail. They'll form their opinion about you before you ever knocked on that door. So me, I'm different. Do you have to skip to every house like this weirdo does? Absolutely not. Okay. But it makes money. So I don't mind looking like an idiot all the way to the bank. So sometimes I do skip and I wave at everybody who drives by. And if I see somebody carrying their groceries, I offer to bring in their groceries with them, even if they don't want to get solar from me. I've been pulling weeds with people before. Sometimes I walk just down the middle of the street in one of like the big residential streets and I just wave at everybody. I wave at houses with no freaking people home. The house is for sale. I wave at the house. As I'm walking up to the door, I wave to the door. All the windows are shut. Nobody can see me, right? But the neighbor saw me over there. I'd rather have somebody think about what's this guy doing out here rather than, oh, well, who is that guy, right? I want that opinion in their heads. That's the point I'm trying to make. If I'm joking with the neighbors and we're laughing and they see me going like this and I'm pointing and I'm smiling and at least one of us is smiling, they're going to be excited to talk to me at least a little bit more than before, right? I don't get door slammed in my face. I don't get people mad at me. I'm what's called the happy cashier. So I came up with this term not too long ago. Anybody ever been in a horrible mood and had to go shopping before? You ever get that bubbly cashier that you just don't want to ruin their day? So your attitude ends up getting a little bit better. It's like, okay, I'm not going to be a total dick, right? It's like, okay, yeah, no, I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. Like, it's not going to change your whole world right then and there, but you end up leaving a little bit better of a mood than you did when you first were at that, when you first started at that register standing in line where everything was pissing you off. Why is that candy bar staring at me, right? That type of a mood. And all of a sudden this person, hey, how are you? Good to see you. Did you find everything okay? Yeah. Great. Oh, it looks like, oh, you're going to have fun tonight. Great. Oh, look at all this beer. You're going to have a party, aren't you? Well, yeah, sure. I'm going to have a party, right? Perks you up a little bit. I'm that person at the door. Now you don't have to be that bubbly, but honestly, do you guys think by looking at me, if I came to your door, I'm not super tall, but I'm very wide and I bench 500 pounds and I deadlift over freaking 700 pounds. So on camera, I don't look like huge, but in person, I can be sometimes intimidated. Do you think that I can be a little bit terrifying to some people? Do I look like the type of person that is going to be heartbroken? People have literally told me, dude, I don't want to break your heart, but I'm just not interested. I don't want to ruin your day, man. Like, you seem like you're in a really good mood, but I'm not interested in this at all. Okay, that's great. And I'm just in a great mood, right? So what that does, and all you're doing is you're keeping that engagement. And I'm not at 500. I'm at 445 right now is my max. It's pissing me off. I can't get over it. But yeah, all I'm doing is I'm creating a certain atmosphere with these customers and I'm trying to keep them engaged with me and get them excited, right? So what we want to do next is we want to assume the appointment. We want to assume that they've already said yes, that they love me, they love what we're doing, and we just keep the momentum going forward, okay? So same thing works on the phone, okay? Because I'm the worst. I am the meanest person to any type of telemarketer. If I get somebody who's super happy on the phone, it's really difficult to hang up that phone. All these work and they're interchangeable from doors to phones. Okay. So when you guys start making phone calls too, if you guys do that and you guys are calling these leads back when they submit information, apply the same steps to doors as you do to the phones, and you're gonna be just fine every single time. Okay. Time is it? We'll break in 10 minutes. So step number 1 to setting on purpose. So sales is a numbers game and setting appointments is no different. By hitting your metrics, you will walk into sales. You just absolutely will. Your goal is not appointment. Your goal is to set the appointment, not to sell solar. So your goal when you're out there is to sit down with people. You're not going to sell them at the door. You're not going to give them information about solar. You're not going to give them averages. You're not going to give them anything. I think we all learned at this time that every house is different and they all require special attention. So if you give your customer, well, the average system size is this, you're going to do them a disservice. You don't know anything about them in order to be able to give them that average. Even if you get their utility bill, you're not allowed to create the proposal. So don't do it. Okay. Just set the appointment, come back and sit down with them. If you make your goal to teach them how to read the sales proposals and teach them about solar, you will sell more solar than everybody else. But it is a numbers game. And just by hitting your metrics, you will walk into people. Yeah, you know what? I was going to sign up for solar, but I threw away that guy's card. Oh, you know what? My wife and I were just talking about this the other night. I'm glad you stopped by. Can I get some information on it? You will walk into those just by knocking on enough doors. Same thing with phones. It's a numbers game. So step number one is we got to break preoccupation. Once again, we don't know what happened, what's going on the inside of that house. So we have to get their attention on us, right? So we start with 2 consecutive questions. You have to be specific with your question. This should only take about 5 seconds. Breaking preoccupation is designed to put 100% of the focus on you. 100%. Okay. And customers aren't paying attention once they answer the door because they are preoccupied. The kids running around in the back. The dog was just barking like crazy. One of the dogs is trying to get out. They have food on the stove. They were watching their favorite show. They were just on a work call. They're not paying attention to what you're saying at first. So you got to get them engaged to what you're doing. Okay. So every salesperson has their own style and should use their own personality with doing it. Mine is super simple. Hey, don't mean to be bugging you. I'm Chris. I'm with SPP. I'm sure your neighbors, Bob and Linda, told you about me, right? Just getting them engaged, getting them, I use a couple social proof in mine and it works. Other people are like, hey, I'm Chris. I'm with SPP. I'm with Titan, and beautiful car. It's a great day out, isn't it? Some people do it like that. It's just 2 consecutive questions. Get them to ask something to make sure that they're paying attention to you. That's all that is. Honestly, my way does work a little bit better because they appreciate that you're getting to the point, but that may not be your personality. It works for me. It may not work for you. Commenting on their cars or their yard or something like that, or their dog, may work better for you. One of my favorite things to do, if they had a lot of dogs barking, that's the cutest alarm system or cutest doorbell I ever heard. Did you install it yourself? Right? I've said that joke about 700,000 times. They've never heard it before and they laugh every single time. Okay. So it's just one of those things. You guys got to remember that too. They didn't hear what you said at the other door. They didn't hear what your normal go-tos are. So you can say it over and over and over again. It'll still work. We do mention the neighbors in this pitch. We try really, really hard to do it every single time. Again, it goes back to your style. But if you go along with more of my style, then it establishes you as the authority in the neighborhood. So before you move on to the next step, at some point, you want to make this one of your 2 questions because you become the authority in the neighborhood itself. You're going to know more people than they do most of the time, unless they're one of the HOA, members. Okay. This helps you set and control the tone, the pace, and the attitude, and you always respond positively. After every single one of these steps, you're going to be asking a yes or no question. Okay. So really quickly, if I were to knock on your door right now, you're going to want to know, first of all, who I am, right? That's the next step. So this is designed to anticipate that question. They're on a script. We don't want them to ask it. We want to answer it before they ask it. So once you got their attention, they're going to ask you who you are. So what you're going to do is you're just going to give your name, first and last name, and then it's going to help them build trust. And you name the company in full. And our name has solar in it, Titan Solar Power. Okay. We're proud of it. Most companies are going to teach you not to say the word solar because it has a bad connotation. No, we're solar. Don't lie to your customers. Tell them, is this solar? Absolutely it is. Great. You know all about it. And you move on with your pitch. Get excited. Solar's amazing, right? And then you end with yes or no questions. Okay. So like for instance, for me, hey, my name is Chris Tricola. I'm with Titan. I'm with Titan Solar Power. We're the ones doing that renewable energy program out here. Have you heard about it yet? Yes or no, right? No matter what they tell me, I'm going to say great, perfect, amazing, fantastic, all that other good stuff. Okay. I don't care if they have heard about me or not. All I'm doing is I'm buying more time. I re-engage them to what I'm doing. Right. So you're buying 10 seconds with every step. So once again, we reference the neighbors. We bring them back into the conversation or remind them who we're talking to. And then we know, you got to know what you're doing. Okay. Is it renewable energy? Is it home efficiency? We may be adding more home efficiency stuff. Right now, it's included all into the system completely. So you guys don't have to worry about that, right? So you guys are doing renewable energy. So that's the program that we're working with. If they ask if it's solar, don't lie. Be excited. Tell them yes. Then continue. Don't skip the rest of the step. You want to build value and create some interest in what you're doing, and then give 2 concrete proof, social proof examples. And then ask again if they've heard about it. Again, yes or no question. Okay. So again, we're continuing to set the control, the tone, and the pace of the entire process. So now they want to know what's in it for me, right? What do I get out of this? And most importantly, nothing's free. What do you get out of this? Well, That's what this part is, the deal and the catch. I literally say the words deal and catch to make sure that they're paying attention and that they know what we're doing. Okay. They want to know what's in it for them and they want to know what's in it for you. So it gives the appearance. So we give the appearance of an out with a qualify. So I'm going to give you guys the example of that on how we do the pitch. I'm going to do it here in a second for you guys so you guys can hear it. Because we got to check to see if the home qualifies. So it gives like, yeah, and the home may not qualify. It does happen sometimes. So we let them know we're out here checking to see which homes qualify for these programs. And I'll call you if your home doesn't qualify for you're not sitting around waiting for me all day. So it gives them that, okay, all right, cool. But it also gives them that I want my home to qualify. Who doesn't want to qualify for something, right? Mention you'll come back and teach them how to read the proposal and make it clear that you need them home. Okay, you can't read it to the dogs, you need to read it to them. And then don't hesitate, and you move to the next step. You got to create some urgency, and then it's no cost or obligation, and then we get the time, you get the info is the kind of the purpose that we're going for here. So everyone is doing it. It's just something that the neighborhood is doing. Don't get commission breath, okay? Have you guys ever heard that term before? It's worse than eating tuna with sardines and horseradish at the same time. Customers hate it. If they feel like you're sitting there trying to sell them something, they're not going to do it. So if you just have that general, just a good attitude about you and you're laid back, hey, this is just what we're doing. This is just the step that you got to take. You will see more and more people engage you appropriately. So here's what we do. The very next step we got to do is just to transition into the appointment. Okay. Super simple. And it works just like this. You just got to keep moving forward. As soon as you finish stating the deal, no pause. You transition into your transition is your questions. So immediately, so deal is blah, 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 blah. What day works best for you? And I do a nice big gesture so I know that I'm doing something. And I turn slightly sideways so that they can see that I'm actually punching them into my app. Then you move on to the next question. So what day works better for you? Morning, afternoon, or evening? You stay looking at your phone. Okay. If you look up, guess what they can do? They're going to respond to you if you give them the either ors. Then give 2 or 3 times. Another either or, right? 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. What's the best email to send you my contact information and general information about the company? Don't look up. Okay. Don't look up. Don't you dare look up. Like I said, I'm going to call you if the home qualifies. What's the best number, yours or your spouse's? Keep looking at your phone. They will give you the phone number. And then how do you spell your last name? Okay, you're almost there. Keep your eyes down. Pretend it's Instagram. Pretend you're scrolling and you just found something interesting. Okay, then do me a favor. You look up at them. You smile. You look them dead in the eye. Say, do me a favor. Go grab me a copy of that electric bill. I'm going to go ahead and get this invitation sent out to you. Look right back at your phone immediately. You are doing a task. You gave them a task. Guess what they're going to do most often? They're going to copy the bill. Right? It works really, really well. And they do it. Or guess what they're going to say? Ah, my spouse handles that. Okay, great. Do you have the app on your phone? No. Okay, no problem. We are going to email you something for you to be able to upload it, and then we get the averages for them. Okay? So if you can't get the bill at the door, it's okay. You must get something from them. It's a commitment, number 1. Number 2, you don't want to lie. We want to make sure that the home does qualify. What if they use too much electricity and we can't fit enough panels on the roof in order to offset it? The home doesn't qualify. What if they don't use enough electricity and they can't get the minimum 4 kilowatt system size? The home doesn't qualify. What if there's too many pipes on the roof? The home doesn't qualify. What if there's too much shading? The home doesn't qualify. This is all stuff that we're going to deal with on the back end, and we're going to end up letting you know. But we need to get some average information from them before we can go back to the appointment. Otherwise, we're just liars, and we're just going to come back to sit down with them for no reason, right? So what's the highest bill you pay through the year? What's the lowest bill you pay throughout the year? And how much would you say you pay on average based off of that? I'll get the qualification started on that, and you can email me the bill later. And then we send out an email. As soon as you click save on that customer, it sends them an email. They can click upload bill, and they can upload it straight to the portal so that you can upload it to the proposal writer. Okay? Super simple. Here's a copy of the pitch. Hey, don't mean to bug you. I'm Chris. I'm out here with Titan. Have you heard about us, right? Oh, like Don and Mary or Bob and Jane, they told you we'd be coming by, right? No? Perfect. Well, now you do. So I'm Chris. I'm with Solar Panel Pro. It's now going to turn to Titan. I'm with Titan Solar Power. That's the company doing the renewable energy out here in the neighborhood. Have you heard of us? No, that's great. Well, that's exactly why I stopped by. So there are a couple of the folks that we've been helping out with the renewable energy programs in the neighborhood. We've been out here the past couple of weeks. Some of the neighbors have been getting up to like $100 off their electric bills. Some other folks have been getting between like $5,000 and $10,000 back in tax credits. Have you heard about these programs before? Do you know how they work? No? Well, awesome. Well, here's the catch. Not all homes qualify. We're checking to see which homes do qualify for the program. It's no cost, no obligation to see if the home qualifies. We're just going to get a picture of that graph that's on your electric bill. And then I'm going to send it back to the consultants. If it does work, I'm going to bring back the information and I'm going to teach you how to read it. If it doesn't work, I'm going to call you so you're not sitting around waiting for me all day. Okay. So which day works better for you, tomorrow or Friday? And that's it. Then you go through your questions. We'll go through what happens if they stop you, say not interested in that stuff after the break. But let me show you this. Here's the pro tips for you. Okay. So these are different than the rules. Body stance and posture are important. Stand with your body slightly sideways so the customer can see your screen and watch you as you go through your steps. Okay. Don't put your hands in your pockets or behind your back. It gives the appearance that you're hiding something. Be animated with your gestures. You can do pointing and all that other stuff. You guys see that I do move my body a lot. It keeps them engaged with you. Take 3 steps back from the door when you knock. Super, super important. You don't want to be crowding. And don't be a creep. Don't look in the customer's windows. I can't believe I have to say this. Don't look through the customer's windows to see if they're coming. Please, it's creepy. It's so creepy. Don't be that person. I don't care who you are. Don't look in the customer's windows. Like if you came to my house, I got this nice big door and then I got windows right next to it that I finally freaking smoked out because every person who knocks on my door, guess what they do? They stare at me walking to the freaking door. Like who gave you permission to look into my house, right? Don't be that person. It's creepy. The other thing is voice, tone, and pace. So voice tonality is super, super, super important. Creating confidence with the right voice tone is super, super, super important, and it works really, really well. So starting in sentences with low tones and raising it to high tones creates a sense of uncertainty and makes it sound like you're asking questions. Starting with a high tone and ending with low tones displays confidence in what you're saying, and it helps naturally build up enthusiasm into what you're saying. And then slow and deliberate with a smile. Know what you're saying. So if you notice on one of my parts, I'm going through my entire pitch, right? And then, whoops. And then on one of my parts, what the heck? There we go. And then right here, when I say, so here's the catch. Not all homes qualify. Slow and deliberate. Know what you're saying. Slow down what you want them to pay attention to and speed up what really doesn't matter so they don't feel like you're wasting their time. Okay. And then the last one, the mentality is super, super, super important as well. Work the hours. Yes, goals are great. I have a goal to set 10 appointments. Fantastic. But what happens if you set 10 appointments in the first hour? Mentally, you're checked out. So work the hours. Set your goal to work the hours on top of how many appointments you want to set. Be positive. The positive attitude will overcome anything. Okay. A bad first impression is really, really hard to overcome. Know your goals. Are my goals just to knock doors? Or my goals to set the appointment? Right? How many systems do I need to sell this month? Now, how many doors do I need to knock in order to be able to sell that? We went over that yesterday, right? Or on orientation. So you can actually break those down. Okay, great. I need to knock 80 doors a day in order to be able to hit my goal by the end of 6 months, right? And then it doesn't happen till it happens. Your averages will have, it's a law of averages. At the end of every single month, you're going to look at the doors knocked versus the doors you set versus the sales you made, and you're going to see those law of averages come through every single time. And if you're consistent, you'll see that 1 out of 3 sales stuff. When you're really good, you'll see the 1 out of 2. You just got to make sure you hit your averages.
So
I've been in this field before.
how do you like keep track of how many doors you've knocked?
We got a whole app.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you. Yeah, that's it. But it doesn't happen until it happens, guys. I've hit slumps. I went entire days before. So one more quick story. We're gonna take our break. So this one day I was having a pretty tough day. This was that we were out knocking in Alabama and had a really, really tough day. I went the entire day with people just irritated. They weren't answering the doors. Kirby had been there not too long ago. And I was down, right? So I get in the van. Amos is like, dude, you're not going, you have to do at least one today. And I was like, all right, fine. So I get out and I'm knocking at the end of this cul-de-sac and I call Amos. He's like, dude, just finish the street. If you don't get it, fine. You can just sit in the van for the rest of the day. I'm like, okay, cool. Get to the final house. I perk myself up and I knock into the house. Coolest people I ever met in my life to this day. We ended up throwing a block party that night. They bought a Kirby from me. They called every freaking neighbor around them. They knew everybody. They had people coming from different streets. They had people stopping by because they put up tiki torches in the end of that cul-de-sac. They brought out the barbecues. They had their other friends bring out barbecues. They brought out area rugs so I could do the Kirby presentation for people. They had people bringing their vacuums. I sold like 14 Kirbys that night. Right? It doesn't happen till it happens. If I didn't finish that street, if Amos didn't make me finish that street, I would have never gotten that. That made my entire month. Right? So my law of averages kicked in. I hit the doors I was supposed to hit, and it ended up kicking in. It all kicked in at once, which was fantastic. That doesn't happen very often, but it happened, right? It was a great time. And I'm so thankful that he did that. To him and Matt, they were the two best mentors that I ever had because they always held me to what I was supposed to do 100% of the time. They always made sure I did what I promised I was going to do. And they always made me hit my numbers. Didn't matter. I had the worst attitude starting out in sales ever. I was the worst person to be around. And actually one of the owners from one of the Kirby offices I used to work for and work with a while back, she's going to be coming over. She's going to be running Texas for us soon. You guys are going to get to meet her. She is she's absolutely insane. She will tell you how I started versus how I am now. Two completely different people. So, but yeah, other than that, let's go ahead and take our break and we're gonna get to objection handling. When we get back, let's do, it is 40 right now, right? Yeah, so 40. So let's do 55. I'll see you guys then.
All right.
All right, so aiming came up with this because, well, I like to shoot, and aiming is how we do our objections here. So you guys have all had some sort of sales training, if I remember correctly. I think there's a couple of you who are new to sales, but you've probably heard the term overcoming or anticipating objections, right? Well, we've already anticipated the objections based off of what they're talking about and what they're going to ask us at the door. So now we're going to overcome them at the door. So here's the deal. You guys are taught typically up until this point, there's 7 or 12 steps of overcoming an objection. Am I right or wrong?
Mhm.
It's total crap. Get rid of it. Get it out of your heads. There's only 3 steps that you need in order to overcome an objection. Step number 1 is to agree. Okay. So that one I agree with is you're going to agree to that one. So really simply what we look at is when somebody says something negative to you, you're going to respond. They're expecting you to respond in kind, right? And they're expecting you to do what every single other salesman person does and just blah, 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 blah. Tell me this. Yes, I agree with you, blah, 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 right? So their ears are shut and their mouth is just ready to fire. So what I do is different. I don't have any time. Great, perfect, fantastic. So glad you said that. Why is that something that would be something that we should say? Well, guess what? It shuts their mouth and it opens their ears. Why is this person so happy that I don't have time? Right? So if they tell me my spouse isn't home, great, perfect, fantastic. I'm so glad you said that. I already talked to somebody. Great, perfect, fantastic. I'm so glad you said that. Doesn't qualify. Great, perfect, fantastic. So glad you said that. Any of these work, right? I can't afford it. Perfect. Not interested. That's great. Not interested. Can I get a card? So glad you said that. It messes with their heads more than you could possibly imagine. If somebody asked you out on a date and you told them no, and they responded with perfect, that would shut your mouth immediately because you want to hear the next words that are coming out of their mouth, right? Like what? Hold on. Did you not hear what I just said? Right? Let me explain why this works. Because step number 2, if you heard me say to throw all that stuff out and it shocked you for a second, this one's going to make you just think I'm a lunatic. Step number 2 is just to ignore anything that this person just said. They're always going to say these main things. I'm not interested. My spouse isn't home. I don't have time. There's going to be little very different variations of it, but it doesn't matter. They have no information. They have nothing. What aren't they interested in? They want the information. If they're telling you they're not interested, guess what they want? Well, can I get a card so I can call you back when I am interested? Well, guess what I'm doing? I'm going to bring you back a card that's full of information. I'm going to teach you how to read and then call me back when you're interested. That's what I'm doing, right? You just told me you're not interested in the exact same thing I'm doing. So I'll give you guys a couple of examples here in a minute. So here's the deal. They don't have any real objections yet. They're smoke screens. They're not even really objections. Okay. Don't waste your time arguing at all. Be assertive. Don't be aggressive. So I've said this a couple times now and I haven't explained it because I love to explain it here. When you're aggressive, you're instigating a response from somebody. When you cut somebody off mid-sentence, you're instigating a response. You just became rude and they want to finish what their thought is. Try this in debates. If you have a political debate that you're trying to get your point across on, if you have a debate with a child that you're trying to get your point off, just think about this for a second. Again, we've all talked to a 5-year-old, right? Have you ever told a 5-year-old that they're wrong about something? The customer's no different. I can promise you that right now. If you tell the customer they're wrong, the words yes, but come out of your mouth, their ears shut, their mouth opens because you just told them they're wrong. They don't want to be told that they're right at that point. They don't want to be proven wrong. Nobody likes to be proven wrong. People want to feel that their opinions matter, right? So let them finish what they're saying and then just continue with what you were saying. You guys are going to see a change in people's attitudes. If you make the small adjustment just in your personal life, not just in work when you're trying to overcome an objection, you will see the way people respond to you completely differently. You will be able to change people's minds more often than not because now they can change their mind in their own head. They can see the facts and details. They were never shut off. There was never a brick wall that was built up. And they're actually going to be able to formulate their own opinion based off the new facts that they were given that was probably given to them like 10 other times, but they were shut off to listening to because somebody told them they were wrong and it enacted an emotional response, not a logical response. Being assertive will instigate a logical response to somebody. Oh God, I'm not interested. Perfect. Shuts their mouth, opens their ears. So if they tell me I don't have time, perfect. Me neither. I got to talk to the rest of the neighbors. I don't have time right now either. I just told you I wanted to set an appointment, right? So is that really an objection? No, it's a statement. They're saying they don't have time. Every objection you get at the door is not an objection. It's a statement. You guys have been trained wrong for too many years. Just because a customer says something, a response that you don't want to hear doesn't make it an objection. It's a statement. You have to know who, what, where, when, and why, and how this affects them before it's an objection. What don't they have time to? They didn't say what they don't have time to or why they don't have time. So it's just a statement at this point in time. Now we can end up creating an objection if we start asking unsolicited questions for no reason, right? So why would we do that? All they say is they don't have time. Perfect. Stay away from negative people. They have a problem for every solution, right? Don't be that person. So spouse isn't home. Great. I actually got to talk to both of you anyways, right? Guys, it's just like this across the entire board. They're all exactly the same. I don't qualify. Fantastic. That means you looked at the old programs. I can't afford it. Great. I get credit just to do this. We have to get the data for the neighborhood anyways. Not interested. Perfect. That's why I'm here. I'm going to give you the info so you can call me back when you are. It messes with their heads. All it was a statement because they're going to end up bringing it back with, can I get a card? So you want the information so you can call me back when you are interested? Great. That's what I'm doing. So what day works better for you? And I'm just going to go ahead and move on to the step that they stopped me on to begin with. That's all it is. And you guys will see this work. It doesn't matter where they stopped you in your pitch. You pick back up in your pitch. This is why we have steps. If they stop me at who I am, well, I'm not interested. What aren't they interested in? They didn't hear anything, right? If they stop me at what I'm doing, well, they don't know what we're doing yet. So just perfect and continue on. You will finish your pitches more often and you will set more appointments on purpose. This works on the phone too, right? It displays confidence, number one. Number two, you weren't being aggressive. Now, there's a difference between doing this aggressively and assertively, right? Because if I just fire back with, I don't have time either, they're going to feel that that's a negative response back to their negative response to you, right? So it's that initial positive. I'm positive. That's great. Well, okay, that's fantastic. I don't got time either. Don't ever say, I'm not interested either. Yes, you are interested. Don't say that one. I hear that one. No, don't do it. Okay. So yeah. Well, I'm not interested. Yeah, me neither. Then why the hell are you at my door? That's the first thing that pops up in their head. I had somebody do that not so long ago, and it was a Kirby dude, and I actually do want to upgrade my Kirby. And just like, oh yeah, dude knocked on the door. And I only let really good people into my house. This is what I do for a living, right? So I was testing him. I said, I'm not interested. Yeah, me neither. Okay, cool, then leave. And I shut the door. And I was irritated because I wanted to see it. Like, why are you here if you're not interested? So don't say that one. Don't agree with them on that one. Just continue on with your pitch. It looks just like this, guys. It's so super simple. Okay. You guys will be able to download these. It's even simpler than just repeating this exact statement. It's just saying perfect and moving back to what you were doing. Work on ignoring it because it's a statement. I am 100% serious when I had a guy who had 10 sales in a month and didn't know it. Seems impossible, right? Well, he kept taking their statements they were saying in the houses as objections. And then they would call us and ask us how they could buy. Then we'd look it up and be, oh, okay, well, there was Richie's sale again. All right, cool. We'll sign it up. We'll just give it to him at the end of the month. And I did that all month. He got 10 sales that month. 10. At the end of the month, he was pissed. He's like, dude, I went all month. I didn't sell shit. And I'm like, actually, you did. You just didn't ask. You didn't ask him once. Like one woman literally said, man, I can't afford this. She was talking about the electric bill, not the solar. But because she said the words, I can't afford this, he left the house. Somebody said they weren't interested. And I can't remember what the note was, but he said that they said they weren't interested in it. Never made a follow-up. And I think they were just talking about the battery or something that was involved in it, but they still wanted solar. Right? They initially asked about a battery or something, and they weren't interested in the battery, but then he left. But they liked him, and they were doing other quotes with other companies, a couple of these people, and they're just like, yeah, I got these other quotes from these other guys, but I like your guy better. He just, can I buy with you guys? And that was an old ad that we were running too at the time, where it's like, we will show you guys how to read any solar proposal you've gotten in the last 90 days, right? Because we know that they hadn't been installed yet. So we can cancel out their contract and get them with us. We got so many. But he'd go in there and he'd read that to him. He'd show him how to read the proposal. He'd show him our proposal. It's like, I really liked your guys' stuff. Can I just buy it from you guys instead? Yeah, sure. Why not? So can you imagine being that guy? Guys, these are literally statements. The more you do this, the more you will understand that just because a customer says, I'm not interested, doesn't mean that they're not interested right now. Right? It usually means they're not interested in what you're talking about at the moment because it doesn't address their need. We got to find a need. So we're going to talk more about that tomorrow. Okay. So remember we talked about a little while ago that they don't have their bill. We can get it on their app or get their averages, right? So if they want to use their app, no, you cannot under any circumstance pull it up on your phone. You cannot put customers' personal data on their phone. You cannot ask for their passwords. Okay. It is 100% against company policy. It is immediate termination. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Please don't do it. Okay. Because if they ever get hacked for any reason, you're the person who got a password of theirs, and they probably use the same password for everything. Because even though we're told not to, we still all do it. Right.
Yeah.
So don't do it. Just have them log in on their phone or on their computers. Anything that involves their sensitive information goes on their devices. It doesn't get logged into yours unless it's in the app itself.